Our ACE Leadership graduation speaker, selected by the ACE Leadership faculty, is a native of Missoula, Montana, and went to grade school and high school in Sitka, Alaska. She's also a 96 Notre Dame graduate, and for a time a member of ACE 3 in Jacksonville, before earning her master's degree from the University of Portland. She is currently the principal of Immaculate Conception Grade School in Fairbanks, Alaska, where she makes her home with her husband Michael, also a Notre Dame grad, and their sons Kip and Gabe. Please welcome Amanda and Angiak.
I actually only know 3 chords to a John Denver song, so probably wouldn't have been exciting. Thank you, Father Nuzzi, and thank you to the ACE faculty, staff, family, and friends, fellow graduates, for allowing me an opportunity to share some thoughts with you as we celebrate together today. Yes, I'm the one from Alaska. I have the great treat of living in a place where during the darkest part of the winter, we have about 3 hours of daylight, where we won't have recess only if it's colder than -20, or if we might have to call in the students because we have a renegade moose hanging out on our playground. That gives new meaning to No Child Left Behind. Being one of the early members of the ACE Leadership Program, I was lucky to have Father Nuzzi come and visit our humble school in Fairbanks. And it was a visit that left an indelible mark on him. Actually, it's more like a scar, since he slipped on a patch of ice in the parking lot and retained a good gash on his hand. Not sure if that was the mark. Not sure if it's the best way to make a good impression, but it does make for a good story. As Father Nuzzi has shared, we here are part of something big. This weekend is a momentous occasion not just for us as individuals, as educators and administrators, but for this university and for Catholic education. We recently have concluded the first annual ACE Leadership Action Research Conference, in which 23 projects were presented as a means of improving practice and education in Catholic schools. And today we are to be the first class conferred with a Master of Arts degree in Educational Administration. It is a great day. This is truly an amazing group of people. This is truly a faith-filled community. And that said, as I collected my thoughts to share with you, I really began to freak out. I really did. I found myself waking up at 3 in the morning, thinking of this moment, this opportunity for which I'm so honored to have been given. And I found myself dizzy, because that's what happens to me. And when I thought of speaking of you, I thought, what could I possibly have to say? What does one say to a group of people who really get what Catholic education is all about, who know the important role Catholic education plays in the evangelization of the faith, of the proclamation of the gospel, and the lived, breathing word, who have heard the call, like Hector said, of the important vocation of teaching and said, yes, Lord, here I am? What does one say to a group of individuals who are accomplished in every sense of the word, who have dedicated themselves not just as educators, but as religious, as husbands, wives, parents, and dear friends? What do you say to those who are passionate about Catholic education and are truly witnesses to their faith, who know the challenges facing Catholic schools and are working within the crisis of declining religious, lack of funding, and even school closures? What does one say? What came to me was be joyful. Why? You are surrounded by Christ, living to the left of you and to the right of you, working with you here at Notre Dame, reviewing church documents, going over accounting sheets, reading educational case law, deciphering the difference between qualitative and quantitative research. Each of you is the gospel in action, living, breathing, and making a difference. And that's why this day is so momentous. Yes, it is a first in many ways, but this event is also a continuation of what we've been called to do as a people of faith in Jesus Christ, as disciples called to serve. We have been called not to just bring the good news. We are called to be the good news, Christ for the other. In Mass this evening, we will hear the parable of the sower. Christ speaks to the disciples about the challenges of bringing the word out into a world that is inhospitable, rocky, and barren. But we, especially here at Notre Dame, are blessed because as I look out on each of you, classmates, professors, and friends, I see rich soil. We have come here with our experiences, and the word has been fervently planted, taken root, and is now bearing fruit. Through the ACE pillars of spirituality, community, and academics, we have been given tools to increase the harvest in others and maintain the bounty in ourselves. But what I especially like about this gospel is a sort of reality check we get from the disciples. There's a stark reminder in this of our humanness and our lacking. Because when Jesus finishes the parable, the disciples don't just nod appreciatively, filled with understanding and ready to go forth. Instead, they actually ask Jesus, "Why are you always speaking in parables?" They're essentially frustrated. Why can't people just get it? Why can't you just come out and say it? Tell them about what you know. Tell them who you are. We learn instead that it's never that easy. In Matthew, Jesus patiently shares the wisdom of his message with the disciples and with us, that for one to truly receive Christ, he or she must be ready to both hear and understand. True understanding is not necessarily achieved by the most learned, but to the one who has said, "Yes, Lord," and is willing to do the work, who has turned the soil over in their hearts, worked with others, and gained insight and understanding in and through relationship. And this is what we do as educators. As teachers modeled after Christ the teacher, we are called to be in relationship, to seek and increase understanding and be witnesses, to see every interaction with the other as an opportunity for revelation. And so this being the case, what then but joy? We have arrived here because of our individual and collective vigilance, determination, and wit, but we are also here because of God's grace. It is this grace, beyond human understanding, which makes everything that we've accomplished, taken part of, and are about to do, entirely gift. So how can we not be joy-filled? And that though the disciples might have been frustrated with the fact that Jesus spoke so often in parables, one of the great things about being in community, about being church, is that we all come with our stories. Our involvement and interaction with one another adds layers to our individual and collective tale. And it's God's grace that leads us in directions we may not have planned and undoubtedly shapes our view. The evolution of this leadership program is one made up both of determination and grace, and is indeed filled with many chronicles, most of which I can't remember because of sleep deprivation caused by late nights consisting of work on multiple projects, trying to keep my husband sane while he cared for our kids. Our program has grown from a group of 6, Benny, Greg, Kathy, Dan, Melissa, and Soren, to a collective group of over 100. At one point, we took on master levels finance in the business school, and we have introduced the therapeutic properties of the bucket. We have made lasting friendships, added chapters to our own personal stories in this community. And with the passing of my mother last August, I have a profound and deep level of gratitude for this ACE community. My mom, Sharon, had an intense love for the Eucharist and modeled an example of hospitality that I can only hope to replicate. The love, care, and hospitality that I felt from people in ACE when she passed away exemplified the best attributes of Christian community. Though I know she would have loved to be here, Mama probably has the best seat in the house, but I know she would have loved the good party, and she would have loved to meet the people who have meant so much to me throughout these years. I am grateful to have my dad, Tom, here to meet you all, you who have supported our family, you who I have shared so many stories about. So we've come here to this place with our own stories and experiences, and now prepare to depart to add to the greater narrative of Catholic education. My husband, Michael, whom I couldn't do any of this without, is half Yupik Eskimo. And in the Yupik tradition, the sharing of stories is essential to the culture. In fact, it is tradition to, quote, arrive with a story to tell when one returns from hunting or fishing or coming back to their home in the village. Let us be affirmed then in our task. Let us go forth to our homes and arrive with our stories of this experience in this place. Let us go out to make Christ living and breathing in the lives and hearts of everyone we meet. Our human imperfections ensure that the completion of such a task will not be an easy one. But it is in joy that we should depart here today, filled and informed because of those who we have come to know and love in this community, nourished and transformed by the spirit and words we have reflected on as church, strengthened and assured by the knowledge gained in our academic training. Though we travel again to our different parts of the country or world, we are assured by the words of the prophet Isaiah. Yes, in joy we shall depart, in peace we shall be brought back. Mountains and hills shall break out in song before us, and all the trees of the countryside shall clap their hands. I thank you for this opportunity to revel in the greatness of that which we have been given, for the gift of your presence in my life, and for the many wonderful things we have yet to accomplish. Thank you.